Well, I have one redeemable quality. I'm always early.
Well, we appreciate that. It's great to have you, Coach. All the time when we talk with coaches, they always will tell us about a foundation team, their first year. You never forget the guys who were with you every year, but your first year at a job. How would you define this group and how fitting it's been to have them as your first year team at Michigan?
Yeah, John, that's a great question. It made me think of the first team we had at FAU, and then obviously that seems like many moons ago. But this team, we have such unique personalities. Between the holdovers, the guys we brought in, and now when you factor in high school players, transfers and whatnot, it's just guys come from all over the planet. They come from different places, and just to see them grow together and see the unique personalities, just form a unit. It's been a lot of fun, but it's been challenging, and we've had some bumps in the road. But just to see who these guys have became together has been pretty cool.
Dusty, I saw you guys early in the year. You lost to my alma mater in Greensboro. This team seemed to have come a long way since then. What clicked for this team? I know it's early in the year. Where did you see your biggest improvement in your group?
Well, the only thing that remained constant from early that game till now is I think we built a big lead and blew it that game as well. We've done that. We've played really, really well in spurts and haven't been able to sustain it. But at that time of the year, we still didn't know. I think when we're playing and we're getting up and down and everything is just kind of working, it's easy to see what you can be. But when the game slows down, and then are you going to be a post up team? Or are you going to be a ball screen team? And you're still trying to figure out what is going to be your identity. That's where we were at that point. And so I think that game was one that really, I think, expedited the process that, man, we need to figure out what we're going to be when it becomes a half court game in the last 2 minutes. So even though we didn't finish that one well, I think it at least pointed us in the right direction.
Coach, when we talk about the NCAA tournament, we talk about matchups and what can make teams difficult to guard or difficult to prepare for. I feel like Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden change everything for you guys because you essentially have a 7-footer bringing the ball up and being your play creator, coming off ball screens. I've compared him to an Israeli Hedo Turkoglu. Nobody's willing to jump on this bandwagon with me. Do you have a comparison? And like, how has it been special to coach a guy like him that has this unique talent and skill set?
Well, Terrence, I hate to go with the crowd, but I'm going to go with the crowd on this, and I don't see it at all.
Thank you, Coach.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Maybe the hair texture. I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No. I could see that, but to be honest, so Danny, like I think of like the veteran Hedo Turkoglu, where he was slow, kind of rumbling up the court. He became more of just a spot up shooter or whatnot. But I definitely, a playmaker with size. But Danny is more athletic than you would think. He has tremendous ball skills. I mean, his ability to put it on the floor and manipulate the defense and work off ball screens is really unique. We've actually spent a lot of time trying to get him to save his dribble and use his pivots a lot more to create an advantage, especially with smaller guys on him. But he's such a good rebounder. So he's able to get the rebound and he's able to lead the break. And once he advances, he's able to cut into the post. He can screen away or he can go right into a ball screen. So he's been able to initiate a lot of different things for us. And we've been able to use his skill set. I think maximize what he's brought to the team.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Coach. I'm pretty hurt right there. I was thinking, Hedo Turkoglu and like Dwight Howard back in his Magic days when he could still move a little bit. But I'm just gonna throw my tongue over my shoulder and let John go to his next question because I'm gonna be hurting about this one for a long time. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Terrence, I wanted to agree with you, bad. I just couldn't see it.
It's all right, Coach. We tell the truth, Phil 68. We don't allow Phil 68. So don't spare his feelings on this.
No finessing. All right. Got it. Noted.
You know what I'm curious about, Dusty, when we talk about matchups, but hearing a lot of coaches say this past week, well, I feel great if maybe I had 5 or 6 days to prep for this team versus just a one-day turnaround. Every situation is different for every team. For your team, you have the quick prep for Texas A&M, a defense that ranks 8th in the country, and you score 91 points on them and have 17 assists, and you kept the turnovers down, something you've been talking about all year. So I guess one, like, the fact that you got to see UC San Diego up close and personal, a team we talked about all year, what was that challenge like? And then how do you treat the quick turnaround that allowed your team to just come right back and score 91 against one of the best defensive teams I know one you respect in America?
Well, at this time of year, we use a lot of reference points where we simply, especially on a quick turn, that we just played Michigan State and they did a really nice job on the offensive glass against us. And we weren't nearly physical enough and we weren't quick enough to the ball. And so we talked about how they were the version of them, except they did it at a higher level. But both teams, Texas A&M with the rebounding and then UCSD forcing turnovers, those two things have been our Achilles heel all year. When we haven't played well, it's because we either turned it over or didn't control the defensive glass. So I think it allowed us, though, to really focus on one thing each game. I think as a coach, sometimes we might focus on too much versus too little, and sometimes we might even be a little bit all over the board as we try to figure out who we're going to be. And so it basically narrowed our focus to, if we do this well, we can win this game. And then we flipped the page to Texas A&M, and it was as simple as, if we can rebound with these guys, we're going to have a chance. But we thought with our size, we thought with how quick we are to the ball on the perimeter, how quick we can be, we would have a shot. And then because we didn't turn it over, we were able to get out and transition. And then I think the turnovers, because we had focused on it so much going into UCSD, I think our guys, they understand how important it is. We try to play fast. We try to keep it moving. We try not to stop and let the defense get organized. So sometimes we've been a little bit sloppy, but I think we're capable of taking care of the ball. And if we do, we have another level we can still go to.
Dusty, I wanted to ask you about the roster construction in totality with this group, because you went away from what people, quote unquote, would say is a traditional point guard. Trey Donaldson shows up. He seems like a guy you're very comfortable putting the ball in his hands late games. You go with the 7-footer in Wolf when at time when everybody's playing small ball, stretch 4 or 5 out. His skill set says that, but he's still a 7-footer, and his strength isn't defending always on the perimeter. So when you put this roster together, I mean, what went into that, and what decisions did you decide to say, hey, the pieces fit? How did you think that come? How did you put that together?
Well, it was unique that we felt like if Vlad wasn't going to be in the NBA, then he was most certainly going to be with us. So, and he's a traditional center. So even that prevented us from even recruiting Terrace Reed, that was here on campus, who ended up being a really good player at UConn this year. And then when Danny's name came across my desk, we watched it, and to be honest, we thought he could move his feet. We thought he had some work to do in the weight room and with strength conditioning, but we thought he could move his feet and guard perimeter guys actually better than we thought he could guard Big Ten traditional centers that just wanted to muck it up down low. And then offensively, we simply thought that he could pick and pop, he could really dribble, and he had great court vision. And so we weren't going to be able to play him the same way out of delay and whatnot. We were going to play him at the 4. And we thought that was the one area that he really needed to improve his game. He would have to be able to punish guards on switches if we were going to play that way. And so he's a guy that's motivated, he's focused, and when he puts his mind to something, he attacks it. So I think all summer he had in his mind that everyone told him he couldn't guard on the perimeter, but also he knew to play in the NBA that he had to be able to guard quicker players. So he took on the challenge and every day was focused on it and got a lot better. And then as far as offensively, he worked every day punishing guards in the post. And so we put him in a few pick and rolls, 4 or 5 ball screens, and he had really good vision playing over the top, and he could throw these unique wraparound passes. We call them armpit passes or whatever you call it. He just had a way to get it around the 2 defenders. And then Vlad is such a big target and he has huge hands. We thought at times, man, we're really on to something here if we can find some shooting around this and find ways to give these guys some space. And when you have 2 really talented players like that, and you have other guys around them that are skilled, it's not as difficult as I think some have made it to be.